welcome aboard. Now you know in the forward torpedo stowage compartment, back aft there's a very similar compartment.
Oh, you're going up?
A similar compartment, slightly smaller, with only 2 tubes, whereas at the fore ends here we've got 4 tubes. We can have 6 reloads, 2 either side on the racks and 2 on the deck. Back aft, 2 tubes and 4 reloads. Now, the Alliance is one of 45 of this class of submarine that the Navy wanted for use in the Second World War, mainly for running out in the Pacific against the Japanese, so a long distance is required. Capable of doing 10,500 miles on the surface using the diesel engines, but as soon as you dive you can't use the diesel engines unless you're snorkeling, but we'll forget that. It's another complication to come into it. But if we're in normal circumstances, underwater, that distance of 10,500 miles goes to 90. And to achieve that, they're going to be doing quite a slow speed, which is not a problem in a hostile area, in the theatre of war anywhere, because the slower you are, the quieter you are. So they would probably be doing less than 3 miles, or 3 knots. So if we say 3 knots, 3 into 90 is 30. That's the maximum time they could spend underwater, 30 hours. Ideally, 12 hours. Either hide away during the daylight hours, split the day in half, light and dark. So they would hide away during the daylight hours, then if safe to do so, come up, replace the air and replace the power in the batteries, recharge the batteries. So if you do the sums there, that's what you can say, 30 hours underneath. Now, I'm a nuclear submariner, and in a nuclear submarine you can stay underwater forever. The only thing that gets you up and home again is to get some food. Now, the submarine I was on, the Polaris submarine, is the missile you see over in the museum, is 6 times the size of this, nearly twice as long, twice as wide, 3 decks, plenty of place to stow stuff, plenty of storage space for our food. Well, 5-star luxury compared to these. On here you go to sea, you put all your food, what the weapons on, all the food in these tins will be on the deck, lost another 9 inches of headroom, depending on the length of your patrol, back in the accommodation space, and maybe beyond that. On the deck, and they put boards on just to give you a steady footing, but it would be raised another 9 inches. And the water is a great problem, of course. The only water you have is in tanks, so you top the tanks up before sailing. No showers on here, how's that, kids? They're good? Wow. 6 weeks, no showers. The only nod to hygiene is to wash your hands after using the loo and cleaning your teeth. The rest of it is just for drinking and food preparation. Now, on the nuclear submarine, we don't have to worry about the water because we've got a big tank of water outside here, massive distilling plant, so we made our own water for drinking, food preparation. We had showers, we even had a laundry. So we could and plenty of space to stow your spare clothes. The guys would go away on this with a couple of t-shirts, shorts, underwear, and that was about it. No real clothing discipline at all, just take the bare minimum. So it was quite uncomfortable in here, hot, sticky, damp, so the less you've got the better. I say we would be changing our clothes every 3 days, as a standard sort of procedure. And with that water we've made, we can make our own air because we have electrolyzers, so we separate the hydrogen and the oxygen that makes up the water, get rid of the hydrogen, and we get all the oxygen for breathing. Now the crew was nearly 2.5 the size of this, so you're going to produce a lot of CO2. We had CO2 scrubbers to get rid of that. So, yeah, the longest I've been underwater is 51 days, and the guys now are doing 7 months underwater. Not that I would like to do that, I don't think. Right, this submarine has the old weapon, the Mark 8 torpedo. They did carry, and it started in the 70s, the earlier wide-guided. But this particular weapon, the Mark 8, was one of the longest serving weapons in the Navy, designed and in use in the 1920s, and was still in use in the 1980s. 3 of these were fired down at the Falklands from one of our nuclear submarines, HMS Conqueror. and sank the Belgrano, the Argentinian ship, when we had that conflict with them. The reason he chose this one, because the wire guided ones, which he did carry, they're mainly proximity fuses. And the Belgrano was an ex-American Second World War cruiser. It would have had thicker plating on the hull, and he wanted to get as close as possible, whereas the proximity fuses of the more modern torpedoes, slightly smaller payload as well, probably wouldn't have done the damage. So he wanted to get as close as possible, and of course you don't get closer than contact. And so he used 3 of these, and 2 hit and did the damage. A bit of controversy about that action because she was outside of the exclusion zone, but intelligence said something was going on between her task group and the carrier task group. She'd been ducking in and out for a few days, so they gave the order from Wisewell to engage, and that's exactly what he did. Now, if you, in the museum, there's a mock-up of the captain's cabin at the Conqueror, and he's explaining about the attack, and you can see on his face it's something he wasn't particularly happy having done, because over 300 lives were lost in that action. I've read articles quoting the captain of the Belgrano, and he said he'd have done exactly the same thing. They were at war, sadly lives are lost, and that's what they were trained to do. And well, Chris Reeford-Brown, very capable officer, well trained, and did exactly what he was told to do. He was my last boss when I was in the Navy, in the submarine service, and a guy you could rely on. He just did what he was trained to do. Sad though it may be. To be on the positive side of it, their Navy never came to sea again, so that maybe helped her hasten the end of that conflict. Who knows? Right, this is also an escape compartment, this being the escape hatch. You may have noticed just across the way there's a big tower, 100 foot of water in that tower, with a compartment similar to this. And that's where we did our training for escape purposes, hoping never to use it. Thankfully I didn't. And what happens when the time comes we need to escape, we're stuck on the bottom, we can't surface. Everybody who can will get into this compartment, and in preparation we'll shut the door, isolate the ventilation trunking. In these lockers we've got suits we can put on to keep us drier and a bit warmer, life jackets, and importantly these breathing masks. Now all the way around there's a manifold of iron air, and that provides clean air just for escape purpose. Now what we're going to do is get the pressure in here exactly the same as outside, and we do that by flooding the compartment, opening this valve here, water comes up, and we've also brought a canvas trunking down here, secured to the deck. With that water coming in, the air will compress, then depending on deep we are as to where that water level comes to, but we want to try and keep it below head height, thus making an uncomfortable situation a little bit more comfortable. We can bring high pressure air in to do that, but the idea is get the water level below head height, and then when the time comes to escape with the hatch, we've equalised, the hatch is cracked, filling that through the water. The lead escapee will direct the first guy up with a longer hose, and he'll make sure the hatch is open and clear, big gulp of air from this, drop his mask, and the next man will pick it up, and they'll just walk around in turn, and then make his ascent. But what he must do is to make sure the air escapes from his lungs. So if in that 100-foot tower, if you held your breath, by the time you got to the top, the volume of air in your lungs would be 3 times the amount. Burst your lungs, air into the bloodstream, up to your heart, brain, not good. So just keep breathing out all the way. 10 foot a second, that's all you rise. So you're not going to be underwater for a very great length of time. Because in there, 10 seconds, most people can hold their breath for 10 seconds and think, I'll be okay. Don't do it. Just get rid of that air. Now, submarine I was on, 140 men. You can be pretty much assured the guys at the end, if they did this method of escape, they would survive. Thank you. Because you then go into the diver's disease, the bends, where under pressure, nitrogen bubbles form in the bloodstream. I mean, just a second. Okay. Nitrogen bubbles form in the bloodstream.
2 seconds.
And that rising as quick as that, there's not enough time for those bubbles to collapse. So we had a different method, a double chamber. 2 men at a time would go in, shut the bottom hatch, I flood up, they'll be fully suited, blow the suit up, a bit like the Michelin Man, there's a hood, and once they're ready to go, once they've equalised, the open the top hatch, they would make their ascent, and they could breathe normally because the air escapes from the suit into the hood, and they're going to be breathing in and out pretty much at the same pressure, leaving the remainder of the crew still at atmospheric pressure, not any chance of getting the vents with the nitrogen bubbles forming in the bloodstream. Right, well, looks like we're being pushed. Now you've got the accommodation space there, get into the control room. When you get there, all sorts of pretty stuff in there, but look through the periscopes, live pictures of the harbour and out to sea. You're welcome.
Were you on the submarine at St.
No, I wasn't. No, but that's yeah. No, it's a good story. That yeah. I mean, it was one of the guys here who's a torpedo instructor. These guys with us normally, and he said they were all jealous of the crew that actually fired it.
I bet. Yeah. That's what you trained for, I guess.
That's it. I mean, that's what it is. Everybody say, "Oh, terrible! They killed 3." Well, what were they doing with their air force?
Yeah, coming back out.
And they started it.
And we stopped it.
Yeah. We didn't need Donald Trump to stop a war.
Yeah, well, he's turning out to be
Sadly,
useless.
we do need him now.
Well, yeah, well,
But he starts it, he finishes it, and claims.
well, that's right, he started it, he ought to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stand up finish! Oh, yes! I heard it's the road to Rio. And there'll be cartoons. Good old Fred, good old Fred.
I'll meet you in the control room.
I wish my family could get a grub as good as this.
Oh, action's got to end someday.
Way down. Where the boat be now? There were 22 men lived in there.
Are you going behind me?
No.
We're venting the sewage tank.
I will now.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about, folks?
Oh, sweethearts and wives.
Yeah. Sweethearts and wives. May they never be.
Now, Roger.
Quite well, I think so.
Yes, I was fairly happy with your performance, but I might want to read the manual.
Divers to the gun tower hatch in 5 minutes.
Can you imagine what it'd be like when the alarm sounded for... Oh yeah, that's different. What's the rabbit for? I can't help it.
Go for it, mate. Maybe it's what I normally do.
This is absolutely...
Let's have a big red bit and you don't press.
So the bad boys get put.
Oh, that's just absolutely crazy.
This is not my thing, but you can't help but be impressed. In all honesty.
Well, that's a scope.
Keep 50 feet. On deck, 50 feet.
Take it as far as you can.
Well, we will.
Divers to the gun tower hatch in 5 minutes.
Then there's one we can see in another bit now. Then she'll just
Contact 09, report 09.
Can't even see anything.
Look at the harbour and the tower. I see no ships.
No, shame. I wanted to see. I wanted to video out.
One eye, two eyes. You can, just pay attention. What? Like to come in as far as you can, please. So this basically is the nerve centre of the submarine, okay? Anything that happens on the submarine, the orders always come through here. If you're on the surface, there's a pier of the watch, there's an officer on the bridge with 2 lookouts, a man on the steering, okay? So you're on the surface, and anything anybody wants to do that makes a noise or might affect the watertight integrity or the balance of the submarine must come through here.
Keep 50
Okay,
feet.
right. The
On deck.
periscope there is called the captain's periscope. It's monocular, okay, and it's used for attacks. And the reason it's so small, it's like a broomstick up top with a lens on it. And that is because so it doesn't make much of a wake in the water. I don't know, if you're on a really calm day in the Mediterranean, you might be able to see it. But you know, when you're in 10 or 15 foot waves in the Atlantic, you've got to be good to spot periscope, I can tell you that. When you're on the surface, that one's not used, this one is. So on the surface, in bad weather, this periscope is used, and it's also used as a periscope depth. Periscope depth is when the boat is at 55 feet, completely underwater, but you can still see out of the periscopes. The periscopes, that one's monocular and this one's binocular. This one you can see, look around the horizon, 6 times multiplication, scan the sky, and when you're dived at periscope depth, there's also an officer sitting on here, and he's got a little electric motor which drives it round, and he can tell what the bearing is of anything he sees. At night, when it's completely dark in here, he used to hang a golf ball that when he was pointing forward, he used to tap him on the head. So he knew which way he was looking, and if he saw light or whatever, he knew where the relevant bearing was, okay? And if he didn't like him and you worked on the panel like I did, every now and then you'd dink him. It's the wind, sir. Right, just a quick one. I always find people like to know how submarines surface and dive, if that's all right. So we are now in the pressure hull, okay? About 23 feet in diameter, 7/8 of an inch thick, okay? All welded. On the outside of that, strapped on, are tanks, and if you don't look at them in that view, they look like a banana, either side, and they're called the ballast tanks, right? And if we were on the surface now, the water level outside would be about here, okay? So if you dug down like that, you could say you spent all your life underwater. But the water level was about here. And you're held there because of the air in the ballast tanks. These ballast tanks have got big free flood holes at the bottom, and on the top, they've got huge hydraulically operated main vents. Okay? So when you want to dive, the captain brings everybody down into the people tube, shut all the hatches, make sure everybody's ready, open main vents. So the man here opens all the main vents, they pop open, the water comes in, displaces the air, pushes all the air out, and the submarine goes down. It takes about 2.5 minutes, goes down to 50 feet, where it becomes neutrally buoyant, as long as the internal trim is correct, right? They then shut the main vents and carry on dived. When you want to surface, okay, the captain brings the submarine back up to periscope depth, listening to advice from the sound room, and when they get to 60 feet, the forward periscope breaks the water so you can have a quick look around, make sure it's safe. Levels out at 55 feet. He then has another listen to what the sound room is saying, whether there's anybody about. He's had a quick look, see if there's any trawlers or anything, right? He orders blow main ballast. The man here puts air into each ballast tank in turn, blowing the water out through the holes at the bottom, okay? And the submarine pops up gently onto the surface, okay? You then stop blowing, and there's a big pump down below, an air pump, that carries on to finally clear all the ballast tanks. By that time, the officer has got up onto the bridge with his two lookouts, and he can see all the tanks proving, and he orders valves to be shut in turn or whatever, and then you're at a positive point back on the surface. Are there any questions about that? No? Straightforward when you know, isn't it?
Can we see it in action?
Done?
Can we see it in action?
No, you can't, unfortunately. You'll have to pretend.
Did you bring a cat on board?
Wait, where's it gone? My life is so deep. I haven't been here for a while. No, we don't want that.
Northern 10, steer 350.
350. You're on, sir.
Sounds like a big frog, doesn't it?
Captain, sir. Warship bearing 330,
Yeah.
4,000 yards.
Has any questions?
Watch, dive, submarine.
Yeah, take a note of that scenario. Okay.
Oh, we
So-
go in.
So from here, I don't know, is there a group behind you? Is there a group coming behind you?
Down to 70 feet, back to 55.
What we're doing is a simulation of a dive now, okay? In unfriendly waters, they've sighted a frigate coming towards us, okay? So they've opened the main vents like I did, they're diving down all mass. The men from the bridge are coming down. The captain is getting reports from sonar. He's had a look through the periscope. He knows what type of units coming towards us. It's too late to fire anything at them, so he's decided to go deep and try and evade the depth charges, okay? So remember, we're going that way about 10 knots, going deep like this, and we try to get to about 500 feet below the depth charges, because the depth charges are designed to straddle you and blow you in. Okay? So remember, so raise that periscope, the captain has a last look at the target, decides what it is. We're now going faster to get down faster.
3,000 yards coming towards. Intend going deep and evading.
Right now, there are some bangs in a minute.
All
so
compartments shut off for counter-attack.
Happy with the trim, sir.
10 down, 500 feet. Assume ultra-quiet state.
that means everybody keeps quiet. The fact that the propellers are thrashing around and we're going down, you know, the fact that you drop a plate is a bit of a...
Submarine is in the ultra-quiet state, sir.
Do they pick that up?
So we're now doing an angle like this,
Yeah.
right? Slowly going down. What?
Do they pick that kind of sound up there?
No, oh well.
Yes.
It moves.
The frigate.
150 feet.
So we're 150 feet. So this frigate's still coming towards us, and you'll hear is ASDIC pinging on hull, okay? And the closer those pings get, means that the closer he is to us, right? And eventually, he's going to come over the top of us and drop depth charges, okay? So
He might try to attack us. Stand by for depth charges.
So here he's coming over the top now. The depth charges are always mainly on the back of the ship, like big 45-gallon oil drums full of explosive. So it'll be a bang in a sec, okay?
400 feet.
In all good Hollywood movies, lights go out.
500 feet. On there. 500 feet.
Did you bring a cat?
So what's happening now, he would be going that way, okay? and you go and you come back on a reciprocal course looking for oil and damage or whatever, and might just plop an extra one under. We in the meantime got to 500 feet and gone sashayed off to one side, off the track, because he is doing basically agriculture up the top, going up and down a track, right? If we can get a mile that way, out of the way, he's going to get bored after a while. It's going to take a long time. So we just sit there, probably on the bottom, just sit on the bottom, switch everything off, have a fag, cup of tea, digestive biscuit, yeah, and just wait for an hour or so. The problem is, of course, being a diesel electric submarine, evading like that and getting used an awful lot of your battery. So the main thing now is to get back up to periscope depth and either snort or maybe even surface to recharge the batteries. That is the problem with a diesel electric submarine over a nuclear submarine. The nuclear submarine would have to do that. He would just give a bit of that, 40 miles an hour, woof, off he goes. Yeah, and he's used about, I don't know, very small proportion of his power. You know, that means you've got to refuel a day earlier. Are there any questions? So, right, from now on, you're on your own. You go out of here and you go past the radar office on your left, WT office, go past the toilets, the galley, okay, and you are into the engine room, and then the after ends, and then off.
Okay, lovely.
Okay?
Well, thank you very much.
Right.
Cheers.
Well, that is the way that the men get up onto the tower to look, and the captain used to have a cabin up there in a pod just immediately above here. He had a bed in there and all the sensors, so he knew navigation, that sort of thing.
What did they do about air purification on post this hull?
We used to snort every 24 hours if we could. There was no air purification. So
nothing at all. We just have to change
only
it
in an escape situation did you use air purification.
Right.
Yeah. It was a case of every 24 hours you came up, snorted, charged the battery, changed the air.
So I've got pretty hideous down here then.
Oh yeah. The toilet's vented inboard.
Oh, great.
Nobody, there wasn't enough water for everybody to shower.
Yeah.
Right? 90% of the people smoke because you got a free fag issue every month.
Got nothing else to do, right?
And then every lunchtime you had your tot. So it got a bit warm and heated sometimes.
Yeah, sounds delightful.
Would they keep the torpedoes preloaded? So they were ready?
Well, normally in wartime, the 4 forward tubes would be loaded.
They would be loaded.
They were loaded, and then we've got the 6 spares.
And then got 6 spares.
Yeah.
Thank you. Look there.
Did you get all that?
Yeah. I couldn't do submarine sound. I couldn't do submarine sound.
Like to come in?
Yep.
290 resolution, in out, close to 5 minutes. Roger, sound room, nothing visual, watch 09. Roger, watch 09.
There are lots of walkthroughs and different compartments on YouTube. I don't know whether you've looked. See about the captain's cabin? See, that's it there.
Okay.
Right? Look, if you stand back, there's a ladder here. If you stand back here, and you see this, see the top right hand corner? There, over there. That is there. So that's the arc control. That's what there. You see it there?
Group up, half head together.